What's up guys, this is Coach Donny from Elevate Yourself. In this video, we'll be analyzing the NCAA 2022 Women's Volleyball Championship game between Texas and Louisville. If you're new to this channel, I'm a volleyball coach, volleyball player, and personal trainer who makes educational and inspirational content about volleyball and jump training. Unfortunately, I had to obscure the original volleyball game video to avoid copyright, but all the replays will be clear video. If you want to watch the original game in clear video from the NCAA YouTube channel, then use the link in the description. Now let's get right into it. Alright, that exciting moment before the first championship serve. Nice and flat, back set, cross court. That was a great dig. Good big backswing. Another big backswing. Ooh, into that corner. Number 9 is already such an explosive athlete. Look at that big double arm lift. See how she brings her arms all the way back and is able to generate so much momentum into the ball. A lot of players nowadays, they have kind of that chicken wing where their elbow is bent and you don't get enough momentum into your vertical jump or into your power here. But without much of an approach, because of her double arm lift, she's able to crush it 2 times in a row. Second time into that deep corner. Another tough flat serve. How are they out of system? Oh, forcing a tip. Oh no. Let's see what happened here. So looks like the set was a little bit low, so she was forced to tip. And we see the off blocker here. That means the player who is not part of the blocking scheme, she should be committed to this tip. That's the main role of the off blocker, especially out of system where they're not going to hit sharp inside the 10-foot line. She needs to come off the net further. She's kind of in no man's land, and this is where off blockers tend to confuse other players. She needs to be fully committed to the triple block so that the right back knows that she has to take care of anything short. But if she commits to the 10-foot line where she's committed to the tip, then the right back knows she can play a little deeper and not get confused. But you see right here, even though it's a deflection off the block, okay, I see what's happening. She did try to read that and she opened up to try to communicate. So it looks like just a funky play off the block. Number 9 couldn't get it, hesitated a little bit. Damn, that was a laser. Woo. Okay, maybe because they were playing at full speed. Bruh. I think I accidentally sped up the serve there. I was like, that's so fast. Still a great serve. Alright, getting blocked there. So another great serve from Louisville. And serving at the libero, forcing a tough pass. Sarah does a great job squaring up, getting her feet there. She's all the way to the sideline. So this is a difficult set to make. And she pushes it a little bit inside and off. That's not the worst set because inside and tight is actually worse. So this is still a pretty hittable ball, but unfortunately because it's very off the net, the hitter is forced to slow down the momentum. So she's kind of jumping under the ball, which means she has to look up at the ball instead of at the block, so she can't see it. However, going hard line when the set is off the net and you're under the ball is not the best choice because the blockers are usually lined up straight to you. So unless there's a scouting report that says out of system they give you line, that might be the case. But in the situation, it looks like she's just trying to crush it and she just hits where the ball leads her. So instead, a better situation is to roll shot down the line, either in the corner or right back to get the setter out. Or if you're going to go hard, most of the time, this side of the court on the angle is going to be open here. And looks like that line judge here is ready to dig the ball. Look at the replay here. Look at that, turning hard down the line. Okay, actually might have gotten the tools almost on the edge, but still not the best choice out of system when you're under the ball. That's a high flow, easier to deal with. Looks like a net call there. Good angle on that serve, but couldn't get it close enough. She's got a heavy arm swing. Okay, that's a better swing out of system. Now the setter does a better job keeping it in front of the hitter. Open to the ball. Double block. Number 9 is playing off blocker defense. Cuts it just inside the outside hand of the middle. And nobody can net that. Looks like they're targeting the outside hitter from Louisville. Ooh, that's a great diving block technique. Okay, it looks like their serving target is the outside hitter. So for two reasons, that either means that's the weakest passer, or they're trying to disrupt the rhythm of one of their strongest hitters, or tire them out, either way. Now the setter's back row, we have 3 hitters, opposite, middle, and the outside hitter there. And you see how the outside hitter is bunched in, which probably means that the opposite in this rotation is not going to be a huge threat. And they're going just true base defense, which means they're equally split and they're not prioritizing one hitter, maybe focusing on middle and outside and less on the opposite. And this is great dive blocking technique here. So you see how the middle is actually still not committing with the opposing middle, and that's why she ends up diving. Wow, that's a good late block because this middle is on time, and look how high she is. So she's able to sneak in, and we got a nice help block there from the outside hitter from Texas. Oh wow, that was an incredible ace. So they're definitely working on number 9 in that seam. That's a perfect serve there. Oh, got that miss, but that's the risk you got to take. Great job getting her body behind the ball. They're running it super fast to the outside there. So what the outside hitter from Texas does a great job of is not panicking when there's a misconnection between the hitter and the setter. You see how she's a little bit early. Dude, it's almost the same tempo as the middle here. Almost at the same time. So it looks like it's a little bit wide, or she's a little early, and the outside hitter recognizes that. Instead of trying to take a blind swing where if it's already past you, you'll end up hitting it to the side or out, she just does a nice power tip over the top, and the right back does make the right read, because when you see a straight elbow, it's absolutely going to be a tip. However, so the right back reads straight elbow and goes short for the tip, but then she ends up throwing it deeper, making the right back defense change direction. So smart play, making a tough situation into a playable situation. Continuing to work on number 9, the power hitter, but she hits her way out of that. That's one thing that I like to see, is more hand passing in women's volleyball. I don't think they do it enough. Good footwork from the libero, inside set. Man, number 9 just takes a swing at everything, but well handled by Texas. I want to take a look at this transition defense there. So everyone wants to be ready to hit and loaded in their hitting positions before the setter contacts the ball. So great transition footwork from Texas. So here the setter stays pretty neutral, but the set is too fast for the middle to close. That's why the hands are late and it ends up deflecting off the block there. Oh man, I thought that was in. Double hand dump. That was pretty deceptive. So libero does a good job getting her platform. Look at the angle, drop left shoulder, right on the money. And setter does an excellent job being super deceptive. See how she jumps with both hands up, and the last second rotates. So that's just a tough one. That was a dropper. It doesn't look that tough from the side view, but that thing just, the air just went out under it. Look at that, no spin, boom, right in front. Working on the outside hitter again. Touch off the block, good call. It looks like they're working on both outside hitters here. Ooh, she does a great job keeping the swing high. Good flat shot. Running that back row quick. Continuing to work on that left front. Great read. So let's see how, even though Texas lost that point, that was actually a really good read block. And let's see what we can learn from what they're watching here. So fantastic pass from the Louisville outside hitter. Now we already know there's a middle and there's an outside hitter, so only 2 hitters. Now the setter is probably on the 6 or 7 foot line, so most likely not going to dump, but the left and right back are still ready in case that happens. You see how before the ball touches the setter, the left front is kind of already open because she reads the slide. And because there's most likely not going to be a dump, the outside hitter can release a little early to get a head start on the middle and not worry about having to help with the dump. She can easily transition from opening her body to the block to off blocker against the outside hitter here. So that's how she's on time to this slide, because that's a super fast slide. Oh, but it's the middle that gets that. So here's the contrast between that last play that we watched with the Louisville blocker being late and then getting tooled, and then the Texas blocker being late but soft blocking it. So discipline. She does a little split step move where she hops in place, which gives her extra momentum into the step, like a quick slide block, 1, 2, and see how she seals the net. And the middle blocker does a good job seeing the block because she knows that the outside hitter is fully committed to her, so she's trying to crush her in the angle. But look at that sneaky left hand, boom, and she finishes toward the center. Great blocking hand technique from Texas. Serve receive is a little bit shaky for both sides. Everyone's passing it mostly off the net. On the 3-meter line, oh, look at that crush. By the way, the setting footwork from the Texas setter is really great. She releases early to the net, but quickly shuffles under the ball and jumps straight up. So one thing that allows the Texas right side to hit such a clean line. See how she's open to the net as a right-hander, lets the ball cross over her right shoulder, and she just finishes, no rotation, just finishes to her side. So you see how she's not going to rotate, just jumps square and finishes to the side of her body. That's exactly how you hit that right side line. Oh, a high 2. You don't see that very often. Out of system, forcing the play. A hammer. I think that was in the seam. She's got a heavy arm. Number 33. And these are not very good camera angles to read. Okay, there we go. Couldn't really see whether there was a seam in that play or not. Great pass on that one. That's textbook. Can we finish out of system? Okay, she starts to hit a little bit middle or back angle. She's got a heavy arm. Let's look at that passing technique. So far the game plan has been really interesting regardless of who the outside hitter is. Texas has been just hammering the outside hitters, maybe because they know those are the two heavy hitters. But a great serve from Texas, and we'll want to take a look at this spacing from this receiver. So a quick shuffle move from the outside hitter, but you see how her knee is bent forward, her feet are wider than her shoulders, and her platform is in front of her knees and her shoulders are forward. So the 3 things that are really important: you want a stable stance with your feet outside your shoulders, you want your knee bent forward so you have more mobility and your weight is still more forward. A lot of people have their knees back and that's why they end up falling back when they're digging or passing. And then most importantly, you want your shoulders forward so you can contact the ball in front of your knees. And not a lot of movement of the legs, just a lot of arm guiding the ball there.
Well, first of all, Donny, the head coach for Louisville, said, look, let's
great finish again from the pass. This got a 2-ball. Interesting. I think that's run from the opposite. Okay, yeah, that is run from the opposite here. So even though I don't know if the ball was in or out, but this is an interesting play. That's one thing that's fun about watching women's volleyball is you get to see more combinations here. So we have the setter from the back row. Okay, everyone's super stacked to the right, all 3 hitters. We have the middle, we have the opposite, and we have the outside. So a lot of, in rotation 1, usually the outside hitter, their L1 is on the right, like serving, receiving from right front here. But you see how that position is occupied by the libero. So why do we have all 3 hitters super stacked on the left side? 2 reasons. It could be that this outside hitter, which traditionally would be hitting from the right front position in rotation 1, is not effective at hitting on the right side. And maybe percentage wise, they're just more effective here. Second reason is you could have an opposite hitter who's not effective at hitting from the left side. So a coach's job is trying to optimize the strengths of the players. Not to say that you shouldn't work on your weaknesses, but get your weaknesses as strong as they can, but also don't forget your strengths, right? And then it looks like their middle right here is much better at hitting off of 1 foot than jumping off of 2. So you want to optimize that middle to get more 1 foot hitting opportunities. So that lends to the next play that allows the OH1, their first outside hitter, to still hit from the left side. That allows the opposite to hit anything but a left side attack. Looks like they're running a 2 down the middle, and then it allows your middle to run a slide. Or the reason could be they just want to be a little tricky. So you see how the middle is going to run a slide here, and this opposite is going to run a 2, and then outside is going to run a hut or a left front attack. So really cool looking combination here. And you see how it causes a lot of hesitation from the Texas blocking scheme, because it's confusing as heck, especially when you run a little bit slower tempo in the middle and you have your hitters running things that they usually aren't. So it was a great choice, because look, you got a lot of holes in the block due to this combination. So great setting choice. Now, is it in? Oh, it is in, right on the baseline. Toss a little bit under her, so not able to get a lot of heat, which why is the libero dimes the ball. We gotta watch that again. So let's go from the serve. Usually when you're doing a jump float serve, you want to toss it slightly in front, not so far in front that you're stumbling forward. But here she tosses it a little bit on top of herself. See how the angle of the toss is kind of on top. So because she's under it, she has to arch her back a little bit and has to use only her arm instead of her body weight. The ball should be right around here. And so this is still a pretty good serve, but it's high and a little bit slower. And at this level, if it's not your best serve, this is the championship match. There's a reason why both teams are here. Look at this passing coverage. So this is where we talk about covering seams, which we'll go over in just a moment, but great passing technique. See how the feet are wide, shoulders forward, ball passed in front of the knees. And even though she's falling, what's great about this sequence is that they're covering their seams. So the libero, before the serve happens from the right, or if the server's serving from the left, you get short right seam, and then the right back gets deep left, and they cross in this pattern to cover each other in case she doesn't get it or falls down. She's ready to pass the ball. Oh, look at that fake set there. Look how the middle is just getting juked, leaving one blocker. Let's watch that again. So we talked about getting her feet directly under the ball, neutral body, and the middle is super early, which causes the opposing middle to stay focused on her. See how she kind of gets fake to left? And then they run an inside set to open up this whole area. So kind of like a rip, an inside 4 or a hut. And she just crushes it straight down. So great setting decision and deception by the Texas setter. Look at that, just a little bit of a negative step and then causing one blocker. So good setters can see what the blockers are doing. Okay. Decent hand pass, a little bit low, going against the flow. Great swing there. All right, so nothing new here, targeting the outside hitter. And now here we have the middle coming around for a true one, because she can't run a slide because the opposite's here. But it looks like their opposite hitter is one of their big guns, because this is the second time they've gone to her. So this is something that, you see how she's already leaning back before the set. So that's something that the middle should be recognizing, and that's what makes her late there. Looks like her hands finished a little bit late off the block there, but that was a very hard swing from Louisville opposite. Great job getting her body behind that. That was a great serve. Killed down the seam. These outsiders aren't bad at passing. Another deep corner swing. I think this is the second high swing that the outside hitter has made. Alright, both setters are actually excellent. I mean, makes sense. At the championship level, setter's the most important position, so definitely going to be excellent. So pass on the 10-foot line. Neutral posture. She can go either way. This type of position is a lot harder to read, because she can actually still run a 3 from here. Back set or forward here. But look at this outside hitter. She's got some springs. Look at that. Opening up. Sees a pretty decent double block, but still keeps the ball high into that deep corner. So I wouldn't say that the defense is shallow. I think that's just a great high swing. Very smart play from the Louisville outside hitter. This is textbook setting posture. perpendicular body, ball just in front of the nose, and chin down. There's a lot of people make the mistake of looking with their chin, but you actually should be looking mostly with your eyes. That helps you get better balance and better vision, right? You can look at where the blockers are doing, and you can't read anything from the lower back. And a great fast release. Look at how her hands are holding in position there. And look at how open her shoulder is. Left arm up for the aiming, elbow super high and back, and deflecting off the ball there. Great technique from both the setter and the outside hitter.
All of the red. That is a lot of Nebraska fans supporting their very own. They love Danny Kelly.
And a lot of out-of-system passes from both teams continue to happen.
I love what she said about it, though. She said,
Looks like a little bit low, and that middle just kind of does a push type of set. So what's been really great about Texas is that's the second time there's been a misconnection from the setter. So maybe a little bit fast, but the middle, instead of just pummeling it blindly into the block, she does kind of like a push. So if it's hard to tell from this angle, but you see how low her elbow is, and I know she's not trying to do that. It looks like the set either is dying inside or too fast than what she's used to, and she just keeps it in play and pushes it and gets a lucky deflection off the block. And it looks like the Louisville block is a little bit swatty, which means we don't want to attack the spike. We want to push over and keep our hands still so we can control it. But if we swat it, we're adding extra direction to the ball, which creates a tool even if the hitter's not trying to tool the block. See how, look at the blocker's hands, see how we're kind of swatting at it, and that gives an extra direction. If she just held her hands, maybe it would have deflected off the block deep, but at least you have more control over the ball. If you want to increase your vertical jump and take your volleyball performance to the next level, then use my jump training programs, which include a bodyweight only version and programs that use standard gym equipment and come with a mobile training app. Get 5% off with the discount code and link in the description box and start jumping higher today. That's a much better pass. I see why they don't serve the libero, because she dined that thing. Good hustle. So this is the first serve we've seen to the libero. I mean, Texas is just executing that game plan. Every serve going to both outsides. We have not seen anybody else but the left front pass the ball. Now, maybe this is the first quote-unquote mistake where they're not serving, but I mean, actually it's not really a mistake. They are targeting the seam between the outside hitter and the libero, but look at how much the libero is taking. She's just taking the ball from the outside hitter. Now, if you're a libero, that's what you should be doing. You should be relieving your hitters of the responsibility to pass. Let your hitters focus on passing. Great spacing. You see how her shoulders are forward, knees forward, ball pass in front of her knees. Great passing, spacing, and technique. Now let's see what happened and why the ball rattled in between the blocker and the net there. Okay, you see how far off the net she is. So you want to stay a few inches off the net. You don't want to be directly on the net, just a few inches off the net so you can actually press your hands forward and not up. But good blocking technique, but not the best spacing, and that's why the ball waterfalls, which is what we call it in the US when the ball kind of dribbles between you and the net. Because the block was well timed, just spacing, probably stepped off the net a little too much. That was tempo. Wow, was there a touch off the block? That was a fast set. That's incredible that they're able to keep that type of tempo, that speed of the ball. Let's watch this full speed so we can see how fast that is. That's over the top. Wow, over an already tall player. I gotta tell you, man, the serve receive from Texas, up and down, but this setter is just making it happen. Getting her feet there, hands up, and spin setting off of her left set. That's interesting. And even though it's out of system, she is keeping right on target here, right in the hitting window. I think it's the opposite hitter here too. See how the opposite hitter is not slowing down. You keep your hitters in rhythm. And that's one of the most important jobs as a setter, is to keep your hitters in rhythm. That's all right. Looks like that's a serving specialist. Oh no, that's a middle. Okay. It's always tough if your serving specialist ends up missing the serve, but that's all right. Middles do enough work. You get a little break there. Ooh, a little bit deep on that one. Caught him high. So what causes a passer to do that? So it's interesting. It's got good space, pretty high above the net, but they're going for this corner. And that is a great serve. And when you're serving, if you can get to that point, instead of aiming at a person, you should be aiming at a body part and aiming at like a shoulder or the neck. I know that sounds kind of silly, but you could get to a point if you serve fast and tough enough, you can actually aim at those areas and you're causing someone to get passing in an awkward position. This is where you mess up the spacing of the passer, so that's why she did that there. All right, let's see what happens in the rest of the play. Force a tip. Nice read from the off blocker, but a wasted opportunity. You're not going to get that many opportunities against... Ooh, is that a dig from the middle? Yes, it was. Wow, that outside hitter coming in huge, like a freight train. All right, this play was created by the middle here. Middles, if you want to play at a high level, yes, you want to be a great blocker. Yes, you want to be a great hitter. But at the highest level, what's going to distinguish you is your ability to play defense, like have basic ball control, even to pass free balls, and to serve tough, especially if you want to play for the national team here. So look at that. It's the middle that makes this play happen. The funny thing is actually the middle dug better than the outside hitter. The outside hitter dug it too tight. The middle does a great run through. Oh, and the middle, another skill of the middle is you got to get out of the way. I know the middles out there, you guys love blocking the setters. So both middles here are the reason why this play is able to happen. So one middle digs, another middle stays the heck out of the way of the setter. She's just still trying to commit to that slide, but doesn't run to her. Great tempo set from the Louisville setter in rhythm. We talk about that. She's able to take a full approach, sees the double block. So here, this is an excellent view, and look at that coverage from number 4. She can turn left or right, equally spaced, good double block. I'm curious why, this is still out of system, I'm curious why we don't see a triple block here, because it looks like the outside hitters from Louisville are just monsters. They jump super high and they just hit the crap out of the ball. Triple block would have taken away this angle and forced this hitter to hit. Nonetheless, if you had a choice between hitting left or right, I want you to answer that for yourself. Let me know in the comments. Pause it before I tell what I would do. So if you have equal spacing between left and right and the blockers are taking the middle of the court, my default is always to hit across, because in case the right back is the setter, you get the setter out, or even if this person digs, this is a tougher angle to receive a ball from. So let's say this right back defender does dig a ball, the ball has to go up and behind the setter to actually set it. But instead, she just puts the ball away. So, because if we do hit to the other side, the libero's there, which is usually going to have better ball control. So if you're ever in doubt and you have equal spacing, try to hit more towards area 1 or tip towards area 2, get the setter out. Wow, look at that. Super open. I love the hitting technique from both Louisville outside hitters there.
It stresses them out because she is a weapon out of the back row.
Another fantastic set from Texas. Oh, and they're going to get her again from the back row. Wow, that was a great change of direction from the libero from Texas. This is another thing I love seeing that's evolving into the women's game, is a lot more back row setting. This is the second time in a row that they've run the pipe set, and they're running it with some pretty good speed. But one thing I want to highlight here is the change of direction from the libero. So we see a roll shot, the libero is balanced, so she can actually move. And look, she's already reading that, but because there's a deflection off the block, she's still able to change direction and almost gets the ball. That's a fantastic move. And that's tough. I think the outside hitter should have dove over and gone for this one. She had a better angle and was already there. But way to change it up from the Louisville outside hitter. Look at that.
6 kills already for Jose.
That's a much better pass from Texas. Ooh, that's what happens when you pass perfect from the Texas. That's a fantastic view. So even though the outside hitter can't get behind the ball completely, she sets her angle well. Her left shoulder's dropped. Her platform's solid. And she has a great open stance, which allows her to continue to move behind the ball as she's passing. Look at that. Okay, and the middle is what we call fronting the outside hitter. So if I were a setter, and this setter probably has great vision because she's from Hawaii, and so many great players continue to come from Hawaii, she probably sees the middle cheating forward. And look at that. You cannot tell what she's doing in the last second. Then gets prepared for the back set. Look at that tempo. And look how fast the set is, which leaves a huge gap. The faster the set is, the slower the blockers become, and just bounces the ball in front of the left back there. Look how fast that is. The blocker's on time. She just wasn't able to get wide enough. That one just out by a couple inches. Oh, I thought she was going to do a jump serve. She dropped that ball pretty low. All right, we'll talk a little bit about why the pass was off the net. But a fantastic block from Texas here. So we talk about your stance. You have to be stable with your feet. You need to have a little bit wider stance so you can move laterally, but also be stable. Knees forward and shoulders forward, okay? So 2 body parts that need to be forward. So let's see why this ball. So it's a little bit higher of a serve. So she's actually in pretty good position. You see how her knees are forward, ball's in front. But I wonder why she kind of goes up. This is what happens if you don't continue to keep a knee shoulder forward position and you let your torso or your hips take control. So she's in fantastic position here, and even if the ball is rising, it's better to fall back or stand up a little bit and have your shoulders forward than to change the angle of your torso, because that's what causes the ball to go up. You see how her shoulders are now upward, but instead she should be falling back and moving with the ball to maintain that forward shoulder position. Okay, another reason why we want to keep your knees forward, really important. I'm going to emphasize that so much. This ball is in the seam, which there shouldn't be a seam when it's out of system. When you know who's going to get set, this middle should be closed all the way. So the ball's going to land slightly in front, but you see how her knees are bent forward. That's what allows her to, you see, look at that, beautiful. She's able to cut under the ball. A lot of people, they have their knees back, which causes their hips to shoot up and they end up falling back. But great dig there. Now let's analyze this block. Okay, a little bit off the net, but she finishes her hands just in time. And this is better spacing. If you remember earlier in the game where the blocker was almost completely behind the right front blocker, it cannot sneak through. And look how still those hands are. Hands are forward, not swinging side to side. In sync. Look at that. They're jumping together. Feet are super close. Wow, look how big this block is. And see how the block is finished right before contact. Boom, looks like it gets both of them. That's how you know the block is tight, when both blockers are able to share contact. Now this is a super high swing. This is a great choice from the outside hitter, but sometimes the block is just better. And you see how the hands are still forward. We're not swatting or attacking, we're pressing and keeping your hands still at the point of contact. See how hands are still, and they have to bring it back, of course, on the way down so they don't net. 2-point game. Oh, man. So it looks like most of the serving errors are coming from Texas, but that's probably why, I mean, they're able to serve so tough because they have such good blocking defense, so they can take a little bit more risk on the serving.
Yeah, they wanted to establish their offense.
That's a better angle. Her shoulders were forward on that one. What the heck, man? All right, so we paused it just in time. So great technique here, shoulders forward, and as she's following the ball, the reason why she turns her platform to the left is because the ball is slowly drifting, right? These are good float serves, so she's centered on the ball starts to move, so she starts to change the angle. But as she's changing the angle, she's keeping her shoulders forward. Look how her shoulders are forward, which allows the ball to go forward versus shoulders up there. Look at that. Even as she's rotating all the way behind her, shoulders are still forward. And then we got this crazy play where, again, a fantastic set, just fast release, crushing it down the line, crossbody. Man, she just takes care of business. Man, that is not getting dug. Ooh, fake, great pass. This libero from Louisville. She's only gone 2 passes, but they've both been 3-point passes there. Back set, yes, good choice. Fantastic dig from the libero from setter from Hawaii. A little bit tight. That's the risk that you take from fast offense. These liberos are just commanding that game. Look at that dig. Defense is awesome here. Let's see who finishes this play. Taking care of free balls, a must. Oh! That is a finish, man. No wonder Texas is serving super tough. Their block is so dominant. Wow, very well timed here. A little bit inside. Great one-hand stab from Texas. That's the DS. So this is a very well lined up. You see how the right front blocker is lined up right on her hitting shoulder of the opposing hitter. Blocker is completely closed. And the libero does a great job staying around the block. A lot of liberos, they want to get into the digging action, so they end up cheating too far in. So liberos, make sure you stay around to the left of the block against the outside hitter. And now she just has to keep a good angle. Keeps the play alive. Oh, this is tough. So right now, Texas is not committing to anybody in particular. They're just staying neutral. Now, as a setter, if you see neutral, usually your middle has the advantage because neutral means the middle's not cheating one way or the other. What that means is you got a free swing on either side. So I probably would have gone middle on this one, but maybe this middle is not as effective. Unfortunately, man, if this setter was able to push it out, elbows are a little bit straight, so she's not getting a lot of power on this set. So because it's an inside set, you make it easier on the middle blocker. Look at that. You bring the hitter essentially to the middle blocker. She's able to dive in. If she just pushed it out a little bit, would have had a lot more line. That might have ended the rally. Good soft block from the middle, just enough time for the DS to get it. And good communication from Texas, communicating who's going to get the ball. Short free ball here. Man, look at that diving move. Great read blocking. Texas, I'm very impressed, not just with the timing, but also the technique. But now I'm impressed with the vision. On a double block, that left hand of the opposite here. And as you're reaching your hands over and you see what's happening, you can kind of shift a little bit with one hand or the other to take that away for that amazing stuff block. Looks like now they're going back. Yeah, okay, that set was much better. She pushed it all the way to the sideline, which opened up that line here. This is a great view. So you see how her elbows are a little bit more bent, so she's able to push it and finish. Look at that follow through all the way to the sideline and leaves so much line, especially at that tempo. And no need for rotation, especially as a right-handed hitter. You just face there and swing there. Oh, this is a free ball opportunity. No. This is the one that you got to take care of against a high-level team. So whose ball was this? Good rundown, putting it still in a hittable zone. And the scouting report, this is the second time showing that she likes to tip deep, not short. So I would mentally prepare for that. So the right back is doing a good job releasing for the short tip. This is where you have to go rotation defense. If the right back is committing short, the right middle back should already be shifting right to fill in this space. So that's a little bit of ball watching going on instead of rotating the defense and identifying the situation. Continuing to force passes off the net, and that's a high swing, man. These outside hitters, if you're hitting over a Texas block, you are jumping high and reaching high. So it looks like the Louisville hitters are pretty well prepared for this in terms of trying to work around the block. Great pass from Texas. Inside set. Oh, she just swats it back. That's her first short tip. But man, she just crushes it down the line. This outside hitter has just got on another level here. Waiting for that. Good swat back. Good transition footwork. Disciplined. Okay, so she can't drive it deep. She's the set's low and inside, so she's forced to tip it short, and that's why it gets blocked. Look at this, look at the tall middle, just swatting it back there. And you see how the right back from Louisville was actually ready for that one, and then immediately transition. This is why you don't backpedal, because you could transition so much faster when you open up. And the setter sliding set on the money. Now, at this point, opposites, I love opposites, I love setters, I love you guys, but you guys need to transition your footwork. A lot of times, they get stuck playing right back short and they try to dig hard hits too much with their hands. It's not going to happen at the highest level. You have to be disciplined, get back on your line, and then release back to base, and then get back on your line against the outside hitter, because otherwise this is going to happen. There's just no way you can dig that hard of a hit. She should have transitioned deeper much earlier. And she had time. It was out of system. She had time. Short tip, good coverage, nice recycle play. Forcing a tip. Sometimes just changing the rhythm keeps the other team off balance. Nice job. Let's see who touches the net. Is it the chest? Oh, okay, the hand grazes it on the way down. Good call by the referees. That's the one's hard to see. Ooh, no way. Just out. Man, if they aced it, 22-23 versus 21-24. Critical moment, but you got to take those risks against Texas. They just got some bangers on the team. Looks like they brought in a blocking specialist. I don't recognize this right front here. Another perfect pass from the libero. And that's what happens, man. You push that set to the pin. It's not coming back for Louisville. Great set. Pressure kill. Look at that. So if I'm a setter, if I'm going to make an error, it's better to err too wide than too inside. At the higher level, if you make an error and the set dies inside, you're trapping your hitters. At a lower level, an open gym is going to be a bounce ball, right? That's like kind of the favorite open gym set. But if you're going to miss your hitters wide, you open up the court, and also you create the longest distance for the blocker to travel. And we'll see how this distance is a huge advantage. So she's just shooting it to the antenna here. So good read from the outside hitter, but you see how the outside hitter has to drift, which opens up the seam and allows her, it just opens up the whole court for your hitters. So setters, miss wide. Set point, fantastic set from the barrel. Oh man, and they run her from the bick. We got to see that one. That was beautiful. First of all, are they going two-man receive? Scouting report here. If they're going to two-man receive, that means they're hiding somebody. Either they're not a good passer or they're a phenomenal hitter. She's pretty decent at passing. Not the best on the team, which is okay, right? Usually you want your libero to be the best on the team, but they're gonna save her. So for the scouting report, I would have, if I see a two-man receive, I would have talked about that before the serve and say, hey, watch out for the bick. Look how much space this libero is taking. Shoulders forward. Look at that freezing platform, perfect. That's a true bick. Second step tempo. And it's tough. I mean, you see how the outsider is kind of releasing already because she runs such a fast tempo, but if she's your hot hitter, I would have bunched in a little bit more to stay for her and make the other hitters hit you. This player is hitting almost 1,000, and when you've forced a hitter to dig a ball beyond the baseline, you're hitting pretty darn hard. That was a super exciting first set. Amazing plays from both Texas and Louisville. Heavy hitters, pretty good coverage and ball control. I would say the serve receive from both sides has been a little shaky, but like I mentioned before, the servers at this level are serving rockets and they're placing it really well, and I think both teams are doing an excellent job following the game plan for serving. One thing I think both teams can do a little bit better job of, specifically Louisville, is tracking the hot hitters. There haven't been much like true one attacks. It's been mostly number 33, so letting other hitters beat you, but let's see if we can slow down 33 on the attack. And then if I'm Louisville, also try to run more middle. Open it up for your outside hitters who are phenomenal. Those women are flying, so you want to give them fewer blockers or a late block to work with. So hopefully we can execute that game plan. If you want me to analyze set number 2, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll do another video for you guys.